Yo, what up YouTube? Quick and easy Fafnir guide. Starting off with his passive, Fafnir gains 2 bonus gold from all enemy kills and assists, including minions. Fafnir also gains bonus protections based on the amount of gold he is currently holding. The bonuses gained from this ability are capped at 1000 gold. You can gain a max of 25 magical and physical protections, so for every 200 gold in hand you have, you get 5 protections, stacking up to 25 and 1000 gold in hand. It's a pretty good passive. It's not, you know, it's just something there. Okay, so on to the abilities. The one is a stun. It also slows. It slows for 3 seconds for 20%. Really strong ability. And onto the 2, you can buff yourself. It heals, it gives attack speed, and bonus damage based off of the target's power. The target's power meaning whoever you buff, you can buff all allies except for minions and stuff like that. But this is really good on putting on a hunter, just because, like I said, whoever you buff, you give an attack speed buff, and it also heals you. Okay, so onto the 3, it disarms and does damage. The disarm always stays for 2 seconds, but depending on how far away you are, it doesn't say this, but the animation time takes longer. Now that might be intuitive for some people, but just in case you didn't know, the closer you are with Fafnir, the shorter the animation time. Now that's kind of important depending on if you're trying to dodge somebody, because Fafnir 3 you can get out of a lot of stuff. Like say a tier's coming towards you and you want to try to get behind them or something, you can be like this, and you know, you'll be able to dodge it a lot easier than if he's starting to come at you with the 1 and you do something like that. Most of the time you'll probably get hit by it. Okay, so on to the ultimate. This is going to be the hardest thing to explain really in his kit. So you press Alt and that little pulse comes out, that circle that keeps getting bigger. While that's going on, you are completely untargetable to damage. So a Poseidon ult, a Neath ult, they can't target you while that's happening. So you can completely avoid damage by using this. It's really strong. But yeah, your auto attacks turn into, it ticks 3 times over a second. I'm pretty sure that's the damage. And it just sprays. It's pretty cool. It cannot be used with attack effects, so items like all the rings you can't do it. Poly doesn't work. I already said the rings. Ethereal doesn't work. Soul Reaver doesn't work. All that stuff. So when you're in his ult, his auto attacks, they do get stronger, but it kind of hinders the ability to use certain items like on-hit effects. So the ult, it ticks 3 times for damage, and onto the 1, it stuns, it ticks 3 times. Nothing really changes there, except it also shreds protections in dragon form, 20%. Dragon protection debuff, really strong for peeling for your teammates. If there's a tank on them, it just makes them easier to kill. The 2, the only thing that changes in dragon form is it's an AoE that can buff allies. It doesn't heal them, but it just gives the buff to all allies around you. So it's really strong. Okay, alright, on to the 3. The 3, it still disarms, it still stuns, and it also ticks 3 times, dealing damage. 92, 92, 92, one more time just to show you. 1, 2, and 3. You can also cancel the ult by just pressing it again and left clicking. Yeah, that's pretty much the passive and abilities for Fafnir. Now I'm going to show you how I like to level him up. Okay, so on to leveling up with Fafnir. Level 1, you always want to get the 1, unless you need to leap away for some reason if you get ganked. The 1 does more damage, and it also carries a stun. Level 2, you want to pick up the 3. It does damage if you're in the duo lane and you jump on top of the ADC they can't auto attack for 2 seconds. So they either have to choose between using an ability on the wave or using an ability on you because you're whacking them in the face. And that's another thing to note that I probably should say about mechanics. As soon as you leap on somebody at level 2, you should wait for this disarm to go away, and then you should stun. Just because you're kind of wasting... Jeez, you're kind of wasting the stat. Say I 3 and then 1. The disarms, it's not stopping when you're stunning them. So you're just wasting the disarm. Because the stun is it's just a better disarm. They can't do anything when they're stunned versus a disarm, they can't auto attack. So definitely keep that in mind level 2, but that's kind of what I'm talking about here. Try to show you. So you 3 on them, you auto. They gotta choose in that whole time that they're being disarmed, hey, do I use an ability on this guy that's whacking me in the head? Or do I use an ability on the wave to try to keep pressure? And once the 3 wears out, then you hit them with the 1, just to maximize CC. Something that I probably should have stated in the abilities, but hey, if you're this far along, that's a little tip that nobody else will get. So level 3, you're going to want to get the 2. It heals, it gives you wave sustain, it buffs your ally and yourself. Really strong ability, level 1. Level 4, you're going to want to get the 1. It does more damage than the 3 at level 2. And the disarm doesn't go up for the 3. And like I said, the damage is worse for the 3. The stun increase is also longer. Okay, so level 4 or 5, you're going to want to get the ult. That's a no-brainer. Level 6, the 1, because it does more damage. Level 7, the 1. Level 8. This is where it gets arguably worse. If you feel like you want to get more damage out, you're going to want to get the 3, 100% of the time. If you feel like your team is team fighting and you're all bunched up and you group up a bunch, the 2 is going to be better stat-wise. But most of the time, you're not going to be buffing more than 2 people and yourself. That's like on a rare occasion, you'd be able to buff 3 people in total. For the most part, like I said. So yeah, I just choose the 3 because consistently, more times than not, it's going to be more beneficial than the 2 leveling up one more time there. Level 9, I get the ult. Just because the duration gets increased, the damage is increased. Level 10, I get the 1. Level 11, I get the 3. Level 12, I get the 3. This is where it gets tricky again. If you feel like the fights aren't lasting that long, and you feel like, okay, I still have, 5 seconds left on my dragon form or something like that, you can cancel it. But most of the time, you want to be able to choose when you cancel the dragon form. You never want to be in that position to where you're in the ult and you have 5 seconds left and it's like, okay, I have my 3 up. Do I leap away from this fight that's close, or do I leap in and then end up having to stop doing damage because I need to transform back? So that's my reasoning behind maxing the ultimate. It's always good to be able to have the choice between canceling it early versus, oh shit, I have to cancel it now and I can't do anything. So that's my reasoning behind it. Level 14, I max the 3. Like I said, I just want to do more damage. That's pretty much my idea behind it. So I level the damaging abilities on them. And yep, max the ult whenever you can. From that point on, max the 2. Alright, so that's it with leveling on Fafnir. Okay, up against mages and warriors, you want a 3-1. Every single time. Pretty much every single time. Your cooldowns are going to be up faster, and the auto attack, the disarm isn't going to be that big. And plus, if you jump on a Herc or somebody like that, they're pretty much going to be able to beat you to the punch if they're quick enough every single time. Because, like I said, that little bit of time that you need to land and be able to perform an action, an enemy who isn't slow, they're going to be able to knock you back like Herc or leap away or something like that. So just remember that. So you're going to want to try to CC as fast as possible on them. But the optimal combo up against an ADC is 3, 1, and then ult. And then 1, and then 3. Wait for the bar to go out. The bots bug out when you CC them too much. Yeah, say you're done ulting, you 1, wait for the bar, and then you 3. That's just the optimal. And up against mages and warriors, it's pretty much the same thing, but it's just faster. You 3, 1, and then you ult, and then you do it. Okay, so on to the builds. This is not a full build for Fafnir. These are just the core items at the current time for him. Now, this is a MOBA and things are subject to change, so the items currently listed might have changed. Who knows? Fafnir might have even changed, and this whole guide might be irrelevant, but I doubt he's going to change. He's a really fun character. Yeah, on to it. Shoes of Focus, in my opinion, is the best option for Fafnir. He needs cooldown reduction and mana to be the best god that he can be. It's pretty much what it is. The second best option is Traveler's Shoes. It gives you MP5 and movement speed, so you can chase people down a little bit more, but you're sacrificing that for the Shoes of Focus, the cooldown reduction. I don't think it's worth it personally, but Traveler's Shoes is definitely the second best option. Cooldown, in my opinion, sorry. Breastplate of Valor is a really good item. Now, this isn't in order. Like I said, this is just core items that I think should be built on Fafnir. In pretty much every single game, you should see at least 2 to 3 of these. So, Breastplate, physical protection, mana. Fafnir needs mana. He is so hungry at the beginning of the game. The MP5 is good, and cooldown reduction. The more ults that you get off in a game, just the more useful you're going to be. And Fafnir is super important to that rule. CDR is king with him. It really is. Midgardian. This is an item, if there's an enemy ADC in the game, this should be built every single time. Every single time. Your main focus as Fafnir, for the most part of the game, is to go on the ADC, whack them in the head, and try to be annoying. And also buff your ADC before you go in for the most part. But, yeah, another thing to think about when you're using Midgardian, let's say you're in a fight and your ult's running out, and there are people hitting you. Okay, so I can't do anything while that animation is going on. I don't know how long it is. I think it's like... I want to say like 2 seconds, 2.5 maybe. I could be horribly wrong on that. I don't think it says. Yeah, it doesn't say. That's probably why I don't know. But yeah, you can't do anything. So Midgardian still works while that animation is going off. So if you're in a team fight, excuse me, and you're getting whacked in the head, at least you're reducing their attack speed and their movement speed by a little bit. So you're still contributing, right? You're being a meat shield, and on top of that, you know, you're reducing the enemy stats. So I think it is a core item on him. It allows you to do a lot more. And let's get on to the next item. Voidstone is a really good late game pickup. It's also pretty good mid game. It's not so good early. I know that it costs, it's cheap, but the passive aura on it isn't that great early on, because, you know, as numbers get bigger, percentages get higher. So like 10% of 10 isn't that much, right? It's just 1, but 10% of, say, 200, you know, that's a lot more. That's 20. So it's, the later the game goes, the better that item gets, just hands down. So I like to build that at least in mid game. I really don't like doing that. And if I do, I get tier 2 and then I stick on it. But Pride Wind is another really good item if you need to get early game auras. Like, say you need to get Gauntlet because you're playing support, and you know, you skip the breastplate because you're trying to be more team based and you're trying not to just ult on cooldown and stuff like that. This cleans up for it, because on top of that, another really good reason, when you're done ulting, when you can, like right there, you get that shield. So that can save you. That shield can save you. It's, like I said, just another little barrier to try to keep you alive when you're in that position of, oh my god, my ult's down and I need to do stuff like that. But yeah. Next one, Shoguns. Fafnir is a great buffing god. Shoguns is just, it's really strong. It gives him MP5 cooldown reduction and CC reduction. It's just a great item on him. He needs all of these stats in pretty much every single game. He doesn't need this crowd control reduction. It's just good to have, because who likes getting CC'd? But yeah, those are the core items. Those are just items that Fafnir does really well on, and they improve on his strengths, which his biggest strength is that disarm and being able to lock down an AD carry, or anyone for that matter, really, but he does it best up against auto attack based gods. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you learned something, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.